Hello everyone, and welcome to Meeple Leaf Reviews. I'm Jeffrey.
I'm Jacob.
And today we're doing a full review of Coal Baron, the great card game.
The great card game.
It's not just a card game, it's a great card game.
Okay.
It's right in the title. So this is actually based on a board game that came out a few years ago called Coal Baron. The designers revisited it as a card game.
Okay.
And I picked it up at Essen 2016.
Right.
So let's dive right in.
Dive in.
Art and components. What do you think?
Very simplistic art, but I feel it gets the theme across.
Yeah.
It works. Everything makes sense when I'm looking at it. Yeah, it doesn't jump off the table as like glorious. Right?
I was going to say the exact same thing. The graphic design in this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's language independent, so all it is in symbols, and it's very easy to look at a card and know what it does without having to reference the rulebook. And because it is a great card game, it's 99% cards.
Right.
There's 11 cardboard tokens, 7 little shift tokens, and then your player board.
Right.
And the game could even probably be played without those player boards.
Yeah, I mean, you'd need like a little... Yeah, without the player boards. You'd need like a substitute for the turn tokens, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's good, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't have me frothing at the mouth, but yeah, I was happy with it.
Yeah. So onto the theme, where you're getting these different orders, delivering coal, shipping them out by train. Did you feel like you were doing that in this game?
I did.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the trolleys, and then you're having the lorries and loading up the coal in, and you're trying to get the trains all in order, and then finally when you actually like send your trains away, you're always like, choo-choo, and you're sending them off, because you don't send them off that often, right? Yeah. So, like, I felt like I was really getting into it.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I think the theme comes out very well in the mechanisms. In this game, the only mechanism that I don't think relates to anything in the real world, is when you deliver your trains, you can deliver all the trains of the same color.
Right.
I don't know what the painting on the trains has to do with being able to deliver them, but it's a good game mechanic.
Right, sure.
But I don't think it has anything to do with real world coal delivery.
Well, you don't know. Have you delivered coal?
I don't know.
Maybe that's like essential.
For the rules and teaching,
branding.
Yes, branding. For the rules and teaching, the rulebook was well written. Okay. Didn't have really any questions after reading it, and teaching it was fairly simple. The great thing is you lay out all the different stacks of cards, and each card is a location where you can take an action. So you just run through all the different locations, and by the time you've run through all of them, you've explained the game. Right. So it's very easy to teach, and it almost guides you as you go around the action board.
Sure. From a learning perspective, I had an easy time learning this game and playing it. I think the only 2 locations were the objectives. Yeah. They're a little more obscure. Some of them are very simple, but other ones you might be like, oh, what does that mean exactly? Right. And then, I think that was it. I was going to say the special locations where you can get a bonus action. Yeah. Some of those you might just wonder, oh, what exactly does that do?
Yeah, but once you explain
it... But they're fairly straightforward.
Yeah. So then on to the meat of the review, gameplay mechanisms.
Right. I really enjoyed... Well, first of all, I should say that my first game, I didn't really enjoy. I was a little wary. Right. I was unfocused. I didn't really know what I was doing, and it wasn't until about halfway through the game I was like, okay, I think I'm getting how this works. And so I didn't get like this efficient engine. I didn't get this efficient feeling from my board. So in later plays, though, as I played the game more, I really found that efficiency taking place, and I was enjoying playing the game quite a bit. And I think the depth comes in just how you and both you and your opponents play their cards. Right. Because you have to go at each location in numerical order. To take a specific action, you have to place a number 1 down. Yep. And if anyone else wants to go to that exact same location, they have to play a number 2. Nothing higher than a 2, exactly a 2.
And you can combine 2 1s to play that as well, so you do have some flexibility with your cards.
Right. So the interesting gameplay comes in the fact that, okay, I have these cards in my hand. Do I want to try and wait until someone puts another number on top of this so then I can play my next one? And you're kind of waiting on opponents and baiting them into playing to locations so that you can use different cards to go there as well.
All right. Well, you touched on a lot there that I wanted to touch on. Let's go with the worker placement actions because you have these cards like a bunch of 1s, 2 2s, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And depending on the number of players, you might not have a 4 or a 5 in your hand. I thought it was a nice twist on worker placement. Mm-hmm. It also injects some interesting decisions on, well, do I use my 2? Do I use 2 1s? Do I wait to go to a location until someone else places their 1s and I can use my 2 there?
Exactly. Because
you have limited 1s or a 3 or something like that. It just adds a little bit more interesting decision making than a traditional worker placement where you just put a guy on a square and take the action. The other thing that it does, because it's always sequentially one number higher, it limits how often a location can be used in a round.
Right.
Like as those numbers get higher and higher, you're going to have to use a lot more cards and a lot more your higher cards to take that action, which can become expensive.
Yes, very expensive.
The other thing that I wanted to touch on was you mentioned about your first game not having that focus.
Right.
For me, I find the focus in this game comes from the objectives. Yes. Until I start getting objectives, I don't really start working towards much of anything. Okay. I want to get something down, so then I have a focus for what I'm going to go for. Am I going to deliver, to like shipping or a factory or all these different places? Where am I going to be delivering to? Once I get those objectives, I have something to work towards. Right. And then I try and start comboing my objectives together. I'll get another objective that plays off the one before, and then try and get another one that plays off the other one.
Right.
And then I find as the game goes by, that gives you more and more focus, which then limits the cards you want to take.
Okay.
Which then comes into this wild action card.
Yes.
Where it allows you, so all these like cards are in different stacks. And you play the wild action card, and you can take the top 4, and then you choose one, and the other ones go on the bottom. And I find that towards the end of the game, when you're more focused, everybody's jumping in on that space because they want specific things. Mm-hmm. And then that thing like builds up to like, 6, 7, stuff like that.
You're just like, I don't have enough cards to go there.
If that wild action card was not in this game, this would not be a good game.
That's hilarious because I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Before we started this review, I was going to mention that, I was going to bring that up, that without that, I don't know that the game would be fun.
No, because you just have to take whatever, you're at the mercy of what's ever on the top of the deck.
Exactly.
Like sometimes the top of the deck works out with what you want to do or you don't really care. But a lot of the times you're like, I need a specific card. I need to go searching for it.
Right.
And if that action wasn't available in the game, I don't think it would be nearly as good of a game.
Right.
And that's why towards later in the game, it's such a heavily contested action card.
Exactly.
And it's even more expensive because it starts off with a pre-printed 1 plate.
Right, so you have to start with a 2.
You have to start with a 2, so it builds up even faster. I think they knew that this would be an important action.
I'm interested to know if they knew that right off the bat, or after a couple plays, they were like, we need something to allow you to search.
Yeah.
And then they threw it into the game afterwards.
And then everyone was using it too much. Let's put a 1 on this.
Let's put a 1, yeah, exactly.
Another thing that you were touched on about this player interaction, I think I have a little bit of a different view on this than you.
Okay.
I feel that the player interaction is very minimal in the game, and when it does happen, oftentimes it's involuntary.
Okay.
I didn't realize that I was messing you up. I was just trying to take my action, because you could card count and see what numbers you have left. And objectives are public, so I can kind of see what you're going for. Mm-hmm. But
there's also a lot going on, so trying to focus on everything that you're going for as well as everything that your opponents are going for, it's going to be hard to min-max that.
Yeah, and you have so few actions, you feel so tight with what you want to do that just taking an action sometimes to mess someone else up, and it's not going to help you, isn't the greatest. However, it still can happen. Like in this last game that we played, I saw someone had a lot of shares for a certain location.
Right.
And I was like, okay, they delivered to that location a bunch, and there was an objective card for that one. So I was just like, I'm just going to snag that up before they can.
Exactly.
But I think player interaction is minimal, and like I said, I feel it's often involuntary.
Okay.
But the player interaction is still there. It's not... Because the more times people go to the locations, the more expensive for you. So it's not like you're playing a solitaire game. Right. It's just you're not really directly affecting other people.
Yeah, I didn't feel that, definitely. I had this thought process going on. Okay, what are they going to play? What locations are they going to? What am I going to play on top of that? And when do I want to use each individual cards? Right. Your ones are very powerful because you can add them together to go to locations, and all the locations have to start with a 1.
Yeah.
So I can't just go, right off the bat, I'm going to play this 4 down. No. You got to start with a 1. So being left with a 4 at the end, if no one else has played a 3, you're stuck.
Yeah, or if the 1 or the 3s that are out already have other people's 4s on them, you can be messed up.
Yeah, you just lose an action, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely felt like there was some player interaction. Maybe, as you said, it was kind of involuntary. You're at the mercy or the whims of the other players, but I felt like it was there.
Right. So are you, anything else you wanted to mention?
Just going back quickly to, you were talking about the objectives, which are the scoring cards. I feel like the game almost railroads you with that, where you're saying that you need to go there and get them to dictate what you're going to do, and you're kind of forced to follow this path, right? It's a min-max, it's an efficiency engine that you're building. The game kind of runs you into that. So I feel like, I don't know. I have an issue with that objective deck.
Right.
I don't really like it. I see its purpose, and it gives you guidance. It gives you points in all different ways so that you can have different strategies and different things that everyone's going for. But at the same time, I was always just like, I don't like how I'm forced to get these cards, and it's forcing me to do something specific.
Yeah, the points that you can get from them are huge. In all of the games I've played, I'm like trying to get like 8 objectives.
Yes.
And stuff like that. I'm just searching through to get the objectives because I can get a lot of bonus points that way.
And I feel like whoever, in all the games that I've played anyways, whoever had the most objectives complete won the game.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can, I'm going to ignore objectives this game and I'm going to get points through shares and your order cards.
Right.
I don't know if you can capitalize on that enough to beat someone who went with objectives.
Exactly. All right, so on to the price point for this game.
Okay.
Is $35 Canadian.
Now, for me, price is everything.
For me, it's something.
It's there, but irrelevant.
Yeah. I feel for what you get in the box. I mean, you get a lot of cards, not a whole lot of cardboard. The one other thing I wanted to mention about the box is that it comes with these cardboard separators, so you can organize all your different decks very easily. I just wanted to mention I really like that it came with that. Not just bags that you throw the cards in and have to take them all out and separate them.
Right. Now, it was made out of cardboard. It wasn't like a plastic insert like Dominion. Does it feel flimsy at all?
No, it feels good.
Okay.
So yeah, I think for $35, I think you're getting a pretty good game for $35.
Yeah, I mean, for just strictly a card game, and there are some big, thicker, chunky cardboard player boards, but mainly it's just cards. I think $35 is a reasonable price, and the amount of game that you're getting in here too, I think warrants its value.
Right. So then on to the final ratings.
Okay.
I'll leave it to you.
All right. I'm
interested to see what you think, because like you said, after that first game, you weren't really feeling it.
Yeah, I was torn after my first game, and I was just like, I don't know about this. And I think it came down to that whole objective thing. Right off the first bat, I didn't go heavy objectives, and I lost drastically.
Right.
I got crushed. So that was kind of the deciding factor. I do feel like there was lots of interaction on my end, just with how you play your cards, how your opponents play their cards. I enjoyed it. I had fun. I just feel like the end game is kind of funneling you towards something very specific. That's the only negative I really have. So all the gameplays I've kind of enjoyed except for that first. I'm going to give it a 7.
Right.
7 out of 10. It's a solid game. I'd be willing to play it. I don't know that I'm going to ask for it to come to the table all the time, but I would ask for it to come to the table.
Right. Well, I think we're very similar.
Okay.
I'm also giving it a 7 out of 10.
All right.
I think it's a good game. When I'm playing it, I'm actively engaged. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next or how I'm going to combo the different things together. It's solid gameplay mechanisms.
Oh yeah.
Like everything feels polished. There's nothing really fiddly about it.
No.
Turns can just fly by. You're just placing and taking cards and it just zips around the table. It's for me it's missing a little more depth and a variety of strategy.
Okay, yeah.
There's 4 different locations you can deliver to, but really they're just kind of different sets. They don't do anything.
Exactly.
They don't do anything different. So if there was more depth and more variety, I think that would push this to an even higher rating. But for now, it's a 7 out of 10. I think it's going to stay in my collection and hit the table again. But I'm just not, jumping out of my seat to play it again because I feel like I've explored everything that's in the game. It's just about now just playing more efficiently or trying to combo different things together. I don't feel like there's anything I can scratch the surface and find more in the game.
Yeah, I'd be excited to see an expansion for the game and see what that adds. Hopefully not just more cards, but maybe different locations, different things you could get to. All right, well, that's our rating for Coal Baron, the great card game. If that sounded interesting to you, definitely check it out. I think it's a good game. Yeah, it's solid. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That always helps us out. You can follow us on Twitter at MeepleLeaf, and you can go down to the description down below, go to our board game links, give us some hearts so other people can choke on their spit. So other people can find us and enjoy our videos as well. I'm leaving that one in. Sounds good. All right, see you guys next time. Take care.